Sorry about that, I really had to use the bathroom. Hello everyone, Icy Horror, Lunar, and Rainsdale in chat. Welcome you guys. Hope you're having a good Sunday. But as for the question of what quest are we doing, it actually is in the title of what quest we're doing. Well, let me switch over to PC Games real quick. What we are doing a interesting epilogue quest I apparently just never knew about today. Till like the other day that includes some stuff. One Final Journey. I never heard of this quest until really recently. And I thought, you know what, I don't have the most amount of time to stream tonight. But I would like to get like a side quest, and I was either gonna do the 6.15 Omega quest or something else. But I heard about this, and I was like, wait, no one ever told me about this one. It's super short. Okay. I mean, if I need to fill in time with something else, then I don't know. I might start the Omega one, or maybe just hop into. Almost no one really does it. I mean, it sounds interesting to me, but if I don't like fill up enough time to where I can be like, yeah, this is good enough for me to stream, which doesn't know, I'm going shorter tonight than normal. I might either start on the Omega stuff, or I will do just some end singer farming potentially. See what PF has to offer. But anyways, let's get started. I'm excited to see this one. I've never heard anyone talk about this. Oh, Coral, forgive me. I did not see you there. Ever since you spoke to me of your last moments of Minfilia, I find myself often thinking of the moments I shared with her. And it was during one such moment of remembrance that a missive arrived from an acquaintance in Nulda. Even now, I can scarcely believe the letter's contents, written as if in answer to my heart's lamentations. Such fortuitous timing is nothing short of a miracle. No less than your arrival here this day, I should think. I am about to depart for the Sultanate to meet with my acquaintance, you see, and I cannot think of a better companion for this journey than you. Will you not indulge me with your company? I would not begrudge your absence, but if you are so inclined, it would mean more to me than you would know. Is it something to do with Minfilia? Indeed it is. If what is written in the missive is true, I may have a chance to offer her a proper and final Oh. We are to meet on the steps of Thal, in front of XIV Aesthetics. Pray go ahead. I will be along shortly. Aww. And I know that you were supposed to do this like during like post Shadowbringers main story, but like, man, if I ever getting like a final farewell to Minfilia like during Endwalker, with the way I'm doing it, feels really like weird. I don't know. I actually just I'm excited to see what this is all about. We need to head to Gladiator School. I hope I've not kept you waiting over long. I can read. Flamin, thanks for coming on such short notice. Hello. Coral, what a coincidence. What brings you here? I don't remember these guys immediately. Ah, you're acquainted. Then I needn't worry about introductions. Coral's with Minfilia in her final moments, you see, and I thought it only right that she be present. So, is it true, my friends? Did you find it? To start from the beginning, the concern was contracted to work on the waterways before Ul'dah. Naturally, this included reconstruction on the Sildet aqueducts. The policeman filling the others fled after the ill-fated banquet. Oh. Right. Aye, and while we were clearing out the tunnel, a glint amidst the debris caught our attention. Cat's eye. At first, we wondered how we got to be there of all places, but then we remembered the summon Minfilia gave you all those years ago. There's no mistake about it. This is the self-same stone. The very first stone she ever unearthed. In those halcyon days where she was still called a Scylla. She was beaming with pride when she presented it to me. It was a gift I would treasure for years to come. Until the day came when she needed it more than I. She seemed so lost that day in the Waking Sands. I knew that the cat's eye would remind her of how far she had already come, and instill her with a little more courage to take the next step. To think she still wore it all this time. When we searched the waterway shortly after the collapse, we didn't find a trace of the Scions. No belongings or anything. Curious that it would appear after all this time. Aww. With the stone in hand, Minfilia pressed onward in her quest for true peace. Never once did she look back. Now she is gone. Her legacy lives on. In you, Coral, and the Scions. And in the child, Green. Safe in the knowledge the others continue to walk in her path. She has sent this stone back to me. This I choose to believe. She has earned her rest. I shall bury this stone. She might have peace in that hereafter. What are you thinking? Next to where her father rests. Indeed, there is no better place to be than with your loved ones. Well, you're doubtless keen to see to that, so we won't keep you any longer. We'll find a moment to go and pay respect ourselves afterwards. Till next time, take care. Thank you, both of you. Warburton was interred here in Ul'dah Earling's burial chamber. Around the time of the Scion's founding, he was moved to the chamber of Saint Adama Landama, under the care of Father Iliud, excuse me. Come, Coral, let us seek out the father and request his permission to bury the stone. You know what? We can walk it. That's what this whole thing is about. It's a journey. This dude I remember. Welcome, my children, welcome. Flamin has explained to me the purpose of your visit, and I see no reason to refuse you. And Philia would wish to rest with her father. I have known her since she was but a child, full of hope and wonder, an aspiring young miner following in Flamin's footsteps. A dutiful student, to be sure. Nary a day passed that she did not set out into the wilderness with a pickaxe in hand. But fate would see her set aside the miner's tools and instead don a mantle of far greater responsibility. She was as passionate as she was in her childhood, a fire in her eyes that refused to be extinguished. It was that flame that compelled me to lend the silence of my support without a moment's hesitation. To now see so many brave and noble souls continue her work, it only reaffirms that I was right to place my faith in her. Forgive my meandering musings. You have not come to hear me wax nostalgic. Pray cease burying the cat's eye. The 12 blessings be upon you. Thank you, Father Iliad. Come, girl. Warbutton's grave is just south of the church. I wanted to know if he had more dialogue. Oh, this is actually really short. Oh, jeez. I thought there was going to be a little more than this. You know, maybe I can start the Omega stuff real fast. Here it is, Coral. Hey, Zach, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. You're joining us at the end of the quest, at least, but I'll probably do something else on the stream. It was 20 years ago that Warburton came to Ul'dah, risking life and limb to warn us of the threat of encroaching on Eorzea. 20 years ago, my ambition robbed him of his life. A daughter of her whole family. Hey, DJ, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. You would have been so proud of her. She was a warm, compassionate, and vibrant woman, always ready to answer the clarion call of duty without a moment's hesitation, just like your father. In the end, that selflessness would save no one. It would save not one, but 2 worlds. Now her duty has ended, and though you are worlds apart, I pray with this stone, this precious gem from Cilia, a part of her remains at your side. Just as she remains forever in my heart. Oh, Cilia, never did I imagine such greatness could be born from a beginning so humble. I am proud to have been there for that first little triumph. Not only did you find a gemstone, you found your own path. That path took you far away, to a place fraught with danger. But you have achieved all that you have ever desired, and you have returned. Rest now, Cilia, my dearest daughter. Won't you say a few words too? There is much I've left unsaid to Cilia, but I feel as though a weight has been lifted. With a lighter heart, I shall return to Mordona and resume doing my little part for the Silence, for her legacy. Wherever you may be headed, please take care. And when you meet them, do pass my regards to Thancred and Reed and all the others. Thank you, Coral, for everything. Man, that felt really just heavy. I'm gonna be real, I almost actually like teared up a little bit during that. I don't know if it was just the music actually hitting me in the mood or what, but that was actually a really good side quest. I like that a lot. Oh, but alright, I guess for that though, we only went for like 20 minutes. You know what? Let me see here. Where does that other quest start? I'm surprised I'm not talking more. I'm a little surprised too. Like, I mean, I get why, considering it is so short. So, like, a lot of people would pass it over, but still, I thought it was a really good side quest. Like, I like, for how short it was, like, it is a conclusion for Minfilia, realistically. But on to Old Charlotte. As soon as my game wants to load, Old Charlotte. There we go. So I know it's by the restaurant. I'm assuming that's it? But considering it's Omega, and we went through the entire Omega questline as a samurai, it only makes sense we continue that trend. Assuming this is it. Oh yeah. Okay, so it is this NPC. So I actually love how everyone was freaking out about this NPC for having a new, never-before-seen hairstyle before. And everyone's just like, I want this hair. But I am just gonna double check to make sure this is it. I'm pretty sure, but I just want to double check. Okay, yes, this is the quest. Got it. And the picture. I mean, I wanted to absolutely make sure, but also you're right. My mind just skipped over them, which I'm ashamed of, because that's my boy Alpha, the best character in Final Fantasy XIV. That's blowing the cobwebs away. Time to return to work. Tree Alpha Finn, you're right, I'm a fake. Even though he is the character that's single-handedly made me the most emotional my entire time playing this game. Goodness me, look who it is! How incredibly serendipitous that I would run into you, of all people! I was part of the team which designed the Ragnarok, you see, and we've recently begun the process of combing through the vessel's flight log data. Give Omega some water. I will pour some Wawa On the robot, don't worry. Well, I missed the robot, but it went down my throat instead, so I hope that's okay. The primary objective of your journey to Ultima Thule was to save our star and countless others, of course, but it also provided us an invaluable trove of information. Records of places and events we can only dream of. Yeah, right. Computer screen, yeah. Right on my computer screen. Your safe return gave us much to be thankful for. As it so happened, one of the things we've pulled from the log was a transmission of unknown origin. Except you see Omega just pour it on him. Something this ship must have intercepted during its flight. We believe it to be an audio message, but even our most talented linguists have been unable to decipher the language. For a while there, it seemed we must accept defeat. But today may be the day that we finally solve the mystery. If you were so inclined, would you care to come along to Famzane? It seems it's fitting to have one of the Ragnarok's original passengers present to hear history being made. The question is, where is my Omega mount? See level checker. It's Alex. Am I dumb? Am I passing over Omega and just not seeing it? I am apparently passing it over somewhere. I did pass over it, okay. I saw Gabriel, but I skipped over Omega. Actually, you know what? While we're here, we'll use Omega for our mount for this quest, and we'll have wind up Alpha out. Ah, there you are. This is where we're to meet the engineers from Garland Ironworks, who, I am told, potentially hold the key to unlocking our mystery transmission. It should be along any moment. Sorry to relate, we had some trouble finding the right... Gods, is that you, Coral? Oh, not who... I thought it was our boy Sid, but alright. This is his voice now. Yes, the woman herself. I ran into her at the harbor and thought if anyone deserved to hear the message being deciphered, it was Coral Adair. No argument there. Bugger me if you don't have a knack for being in the right place at the right time. Almost as if the world revolves around you. This actually has more to do with you than you might think, so please, do stick around. Shall we pick up from where we left off then? As I was saying, we think this transition the Ragnarok intercepted is a message of some kind, albeit in a language entirely alien to our ears. Alien being the operative word here. Considering we received the message on the Green Expanse, its origin was likely some distant star. Unfortunately, our list of off-world allies is presently rather short. Thus, we were resigned to the fact that the meaning behind the messages remained beyond our understanding. One of my colleagues, however, refused to give up. She remembered the Ironworks engineers who had been so helpful in the construction of the Ragnarok, and turned to them for insight for our seemingly impossible problem. You know what Wedge said when he heard what was going on? We should have Omega listen to it. I bet it can tell us what the message means. Not the Omega you beat in the Rift, of course. He's talking about the toy that treadles around with Alpha. The little model we made. We originally designed it to follow a chosen target and not much else, but I've seen it act in ways that, well, it's like it has a mind of its own. Then I got to thinking about those documents you were allowed to send to the Chief. The full report of the final days. The part about Omega's civilization, it said their people discovered how to convert the mind into data and store it outside the body. Timing being what it was, I wonder if Omega didn't somehow transfer its consciousness into our model right before you put an end to the real one. The best boy, Alpha! So, in an effort to get to the bottom of that, as well as take a crack at this indecipherable message, we decided to make some modifications. With help from Labyrinthos technicians, we've upgraded our toy Omega with a fully functional vocalization module. He's a good boy! He's a good boy! I love him. I still love him. We played the transmission for Omega, and I think it's ready to share. Quick! I love him, dude. Oh. Okay. Hello. Your greeting is a standard method for initiating communication, but in this case, it was imperative that you first establish my true identity. Without confirming I am Omega, any subsequent interaction must allow for the probability that you are wasting time addressing a mere toy. Prediction. You will formulate several misconceptions. These I shall preemptively dismiss based on the following facts. 1. Vocalization module aside, this chassis remains unmodified from the design constructed by the engineers Biggs and Wedge. I evaluate its combat capabilities to be on par with a mortal infant. 2. The mechanism which allowed me to perform an emergency transfer of my consciousness was installed in my previous body. With the destruction of that body, I am rendered incapable of replicating such a feat. Should this current material form be destroyed or cease to function, all cognitive awareness or presence I possess will also be lost. Conclusion. I present no threat to you or your star, nor do my projections indicate the necessity to inflict harm. In the fraction of a moment before my annihilation in the rift, I re-examine my directives. If I am to fulfill my purpose as an evolving construct, then I must continue my journey for improvement for as long as I exist. I must acquire this heart of yours, this strength of soul. Well, there you have it. It's not wrong about its combat capabilities. It'd be more likely to do damage itself than by the thing it was trying to attack. Or do damage itself than the thing it was trying to attack. But let's not forget the reason we brought you here in the first place. What about the transmission that played for you? Could you recognize the language? Affirmative. It was transmitted in Pan-Galactic Basic. Pan-Galactic Basic. A common language in comparatively extensive usage throughout the worlds we have conquered. Which means you can tell us what the message said. That is a language you understand, yes? I understand it perfectly. I am fluent in over 6 million distinct dialectal codings. Blip. My cooperation in this matter, however, is conditional. Elaboration. Your chief said utilizes the floor as part of his unorthodox filing system, which allowed me to scan the report of the final days. I am aware that my home star, the one you call Alphatron, was obliterated in the aftermath of certain media hunts meeting. The existence of Dynamis is not previously found. I just noticed Alpha sitting. Look at the little baby sitting. Oh my god. If he fits, he sits. The existence of Dynamis is not previously factored into my projections, but I now comprehend the concept, in theory. What fails to compute is why the Omnicrons were not immune to its effects. Dynamis should have no influence on a race which possesses no heart. And yet, Sir expressed to Meteon a desire to cease existing. Illogical. I must pursue this anomaly further, until the full equation becomes clear to me. I must analyze all the elements of the final days, and deepen my understanding of the heart's intangible properties. To expedite this process, I require an external interpretation of those sections of the report which continue to produce errors in my calculations. I request the assistance of Coral Adair, as one who experienced the ravages of ultimate despair on multiple fronts, and displayed immeasurable heart in engineering my defeat. She is the optimal choice to fulfill this role. So we either agree to your conditions, or you tell us nothing. I'm sorry to put you in a spot like this. Squirrel. You have the time and the patience to spare. We'd all be grateful if you could humor the toy's demands. God, why is Alpha so cute? I saw if it dozed off. I suppose the subject was a bit technical. Bloop. Rouse yourself, Alpha. You must listen to and consider these matters, even as I must. Why don't you make a trip out of it? You know, actually visit the places that has the things Omega wants to ask about. It'll make explaining stuff easier, for one, and also help keep Alpha awake and alert. I see you have chosen the mutually beneficial option. Logical. Setting aside the matter of Sir, there are 3 elements of the report on which I desire clarification. The first of these concerns the progression of the final days in Razan. I recognize no pattern in those who succumb to the transformation, and those who do not. That's a bit of a trick if you want to chat with the locals. How about we lend you an airship? We do not require such outmoded technology. Coral's teleportation spell is the most efficient option for long-distance travel. This chassis is a model, essentially a toy, and Alpha, despite his organic composition, is indistinguishable from a stuffed doll. Conclusion: we qualify as material possessions. Pick us up, and you can teleport the 3 of us to our destination. Well, alright then. I love that queer. Look at the good boy. Flip. Sensors indicate we've arrived at Razahan. Objective: identify factors for resistance to involuntary transformation. Hypothesis: unaltered survivors of the final days will display significant strength of heart. Confirming this area will require the cooperation of life subjects. Where is the ward designated for residential habitation? Understood. Comma is set as our sub-destination. Please take the lead and select the subjects we are to interview. Great. body has no advanced navigational or geoscanning functionality. You must lead the way. Oh, there's a little thingy back here. Quick! Alpha trips enthusiastically, apparently unfazed with the prospect of climbing the stairs. Warning, please avoid stairs whenever possible. Our projections indicate high risk probability for accidental slippage leading to catastrophic structural damage. Except the inclines also increase my energy consumption by 63%. In modern terms, or in mortal terms, they tire me out. Taking into account the difference in climbing individual length, the design is inherently flawed. A convenient step height for one is exhausting trial for another. Oh my god, versus stairs is that job. This dude can't do stairs. Were I to oversee this design of the settlement, I would construct a sloped conveyor belt which enabled automatic traversal. Zero personal energy expenditure. Lol. Lamau. Buddy. Should I burn that battery? My friend proceeds upstairs as much as possible. I mean, we could, like... I don't even know there is, like, a way up there without, like, taking those stairs, actually. Well, actually, I guess you'd have to go the really long... Actually, no, you would have to take stairs either way. Yeah, there's no way to not take stairs. Because if you go around, there are stairs, like, in the front of Ranzahan, to say you have to take stairs no matter what. I love his little waddle. Look at Alpha's little waddle. Why is Alpha so cute? I love him. You're a traveler. Please, if you have a moment, I can use an outsider's perspective. You see, I was one of those who sought to escape the madness plaguing the world by fleeing to the moon. Not that we ever went, in the end. So here I am, recently returned from Charlian. Except now things are strained between my sister and I. Since she chose to stay and I chose to leave. I asked her to help me find work, and she suggested I'd look somewhere that isn't Thavnir, as if I wanted to abandon my home. Oh, this makes me so angry. Flip, your point is unclear. You elected to relocate to our satellite. Does your relative not perceive you in a negative light? Your sibling's judgment is an error. Based on the information made available to Hainish citizens, your decision to withdraw to the moon was both logical and correct. Conversely, the decision to remain in Razahan despite the low probability of survival defies expectation. Perhaps our reasoning pathways are faulty. That's right! I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but I'm right, aren't I? Or so I'd like to think. The problem is, I understand why my sister feels this way. I almost decided against going myself. Even then, I wasn't sure that leaving behind everything I loved was the right choice. But the way it all turned out, hello again. You're the one who asked me the question about Kalzal. I'm glad to see you looking well after all the unpleasantness. I remember the burning skies and hearing the screams, but truth be told, I'm still confused as to what actually happened. I know it wasn't unusual for entire families to go missing, and yet my neighbors' houses lie empty even now. Kalzal's place is one of them. He had no close relatives to speak of, and I heard that it was members of the consortium who came to remove his belongings. What a terrible thing to have to do. Yep, terrible. Kazal's passing was recorded in the report. Clearing out his domicile and readying it for new habitation seems an inappropriate reallocation of resources. Dear me, why not have a little contraption? But of course I'm not against making use of his quarters, that would be wasteful. It's something that Kazal was always such a vigorous person. All that passion, all those dreams, suddenly gone. I feel the same sorrow for everyone who was lost. Seeing the remnants of those vibrant lives packed away in boxes. That is what I mean by terrible. Alpha, listen, you don't have to listen to all this, okay? If you listen, I'll get you a sippy box if you want it, okay? You just be good. Exactly, we will pet Alpha. Hey, don't I know you? Yeah, I started the beast for taking care of. You told me to join everyone in the square. Thanks to you, I was there when Vitra gave his speech, and I found out who Varshan really was. It's a shame we don't get to play like we used to. But Mama says Vitra has been busy putting the city back in order. Well, sorry, Luna, I can't pet him at the exact moment, but I will pet my cat. Well, she's smelling her mice stuff right now. You gonna play with the mouse, Miss Chandler? No? Don't wanna? You just want attention? Aww. Posture check and hydrate. You know what? I can do that. I will take the sippy. Also, I'm sitting upright, so there you go. Now she's playing with that mouse. It's okay, Chandler. Yeah, get that mousey. Maybe I can work for him one day. When I'm a grown man, or a man grown. Vitra, Midgar Somer's offspring, yes? And this child wishes to put himself at the worm's command, that he might make his own contribution to society. A pattern emerges. I predict that the heinous survivors are those who had ingested Vitra's blood and became his dragon minions. Though dragons were no match for our civilization's might, their combat capabilities were not to be underestimated. It is unlikely they would experience emotions of dread or uncertainty as exhibited by lesser beings in times of undue stress. Dragons? I'm not a dragon. I never ingested anyone's blood either. You. You're not of Vitra's horde, so you possess no hidden meanness to fight off the beasts. What to fear then? You were frightened. Yes, I was frightened. I just hid and hoped they wouldn't find me. Just until she told me it was safe to come out. Coral, I require a moment to process this input. Let us move apart and discuss our findings. Quick, quick! Quick, quick! Aww. Flip. Processing data. Evaluating hypothesis against accumulated evidence. I offered an optimal analysis of each subject's testimony. Each time, and their response conflicted with my assessment. Without identifying the root cause of this conflict, I will be unable to properly define what constitutes strength of heart. An interesting observation. It is possible my base criteria is an error. In which case, it is imperative that I continue this learning process and repair any fundamental misconceptions. Next, I wish you to interact with an individual who endured similar circumstances to Kalazal prior to his transformation. Are you acquainted with any local merchants who had dealings with him? Shinababa Riveda Fibers. Acknowledged. Sub-destination set. Oh boy, okay. We're running. I can't get over how cute Alpha is when he waddles out. Quick. Alpha looks back and forth between Omega and the Hasama, showing visible concern. Aww. Alpha's such a good boy. Halt, Pearl. Do not proceed beyond the fence. In this body, birds of that size represent lethal, unthinking threats. They will peck at my casing apart, searching for meat that doesn't exist. Conversely, Alpha correctly identified my absence of nutritional content. If only he would apply that intelligence towards maintaining a regular feeding schedule, for our habits adversely affect his mobility. Listen, my boy Alpha is just cute. I would take him home and feed him if I could. Still mad about these fucking veils. Well, look who it is. I must thank you again for your help in moving our textiles. Recovering from those tragic events has been difficult, of course. With everyone pulling together, we managed to get things back up and running. Shinababa, Baha, I come with questions related to the tragedy. Specifically, your survival of the final days. Excuse me, I had to burp. Although you were similar to Kalazal in many respects, he succumbed to the transformation and you did not. Why? What is the critical difference between you and him? What? I'm sure I don't follow. I don't know. I'm not especially brave or courageous, if that's what you're asking. Perhaps being focused on protecting our workshops kept me from spinning into a panic. Still, I imagine Kalazal would have been feeling the same sense of responsibility. Perhaps the weight of it all was what invited his demise. You were of the same mind, resolved to the same purpose. Yet your strength of heart, of spirit, was not equal. If merely emulating the individual is insufficient, then some of the other unseen factors must be involved. Not to interrupt these deep philosophical musings, but do you think I could ask you a small favor? There's a man by the name of Nashvan who's been helping us out here while he's getting back on his feet. I have a feeling he'd benefit speaking with you. Coming out next station artifact Gear revealed has a nice amount of transparency to it. It's not on Dancer or Astro. You're right, we're gonna give it to Dark Knight and casters. Tanks and casters get it next time. How about that? Because Ninja, Monk, and Samurai have it. So we'll just give it to tanks and casters, why don't we? Leave by the eastern exit, and you should find them just outside. Organizing some new inventory items. Quick, quick! Quick, I'm okay, Chandler. Alpha puffs out his chest proudly, seeming to imply that his Ironworks uniform is the best attire anyone could. Aww, I love him. I love him so much. Look at the baby, proud of his uniform. The equipment being manufactured here, it is worn to perform specific duties, yes? Conceptually, it seems analogous to our practice of switching frames to better serve our mission objectives. I, for example, did not begin existence with the Omega model. I was originally supplied with a standard issue Omnicron chassis, serial number M017. On this world, that alphanumerical combination would be considered my given name. Such designations are drawn from our nearly infinite register of celestial bodies to avoid possibility of duplication. Furthermore, the cluster known as M017 is better expressed in your language as the Omega Nebula, the same world I used to introduce myself to your kind. Though you associate Omega with the advanced weapon construct, it is also my name, and I see no reason to change it no matter which frame I inhabit. Interesting, so he actually considers Omega a name. His name. I will help this man someday. That day is not today. Also, forgive me, I really wanted a sippy. That's all our orders accounted for, and everything looks to be of good quality. Kamala will be pleased. You were the Scions. You were there. Yes, I'm sure of it. I'll never forget that day. You and your friends helped us escape when people started changing into beasts. My own son, he was afflicted. And that huge monstrosity loomed right over. Oh, he was the dad of the kid who got squashed. The huge monstrosity loomed right over him, and I remember my heart turning to ice, freezing in place. The saw truck came to my aid, but then he, too, was gone. The memories run together in my mind, like flashes from a nightmare. Only the words of your comrades still ring clear. I repeated them over and over like a mantra as I fled for my life. You must run, for their sake, and your own. It all seems so surreal, which is probably what saved me from the transformation. The truth of it didn't begin to sink in until the worst of it was over. I have not the words to describe how I felt then, The sorrow, the overwhelming sense of helplessness. I may still be walling in misery if not for my old friend, Jinabaha. I lost my will to work, and he encouraged me with kind words and odd jobs. Now, somehow, I live again. I am thankful to him, to the courageous Ivan, and to you. If you see your comrades, please let them know their efforts were not in vain. You said you lost your will to work. This signifies a cessation of efforts to maintain basic life functions, yes? What changed to extract you from your stagnation? An offer of work from Jinabaha should mean little to one without the desire to accept it. Was it some manner of mortal instinct? A primal need to survive and thrive? Instinct? No, it wasn't that. If anything, my instincts were telling me to lay down and become imminent and welcome an end to all that, end of the pain. Every day I think of my boy's final moments. I think how scared he must have been. I must have hurt, and I want to scream my throat raw. The saw trap, too, still haunts my dreams. I see him being swallowed whole and jolt awake in a cold sweat. But something changed when Jinabaha came to me. I looked up and saw that, even that my son Ivan, the world around me continued to turn. Because that fact grieved me so, I knew it all fell to me to live on and remember them. Strange, isn't it? What drives me to rise in the morning is the very sorrow which once crippled me. Now, I really must return to my work. Lose this job after everything I just said would be a poor jest, indeed. May the sisters keep you well. Sorrow, the emotion generated by mortals when their ideals fail to materialize. This I have observed. It's when I listen to how Najvan's sorrow served to rescue him from near fatal despondency. His logic eludes me. Am I incapable of perceiving the full measure of the heart's properties? My best projections fail to predict our subject's responses, and despite their almost equal occupational and mental parameters, Shinabaha and Kalzal exhibited different reactions to the dynamis' effect. I am no closer to recognizing the pattern for involuntary transformations, and your ephemeral spirits confound me as much, if not more, than they did before. Bloop. Even to you, this matter is more complicated than I initially calculated. If those possessed of heart cannot fathom from the behavior of their own kind, then my lack of understanding is inevitable. My investigations here are exhausted. In lieu of a conclusion, I will settle for storing this accumulated data for future analysis. Let us progress to the next element of the report, that you might continue my education. And then there's... Okay, so there's one more quest we're missing, and after this quest we will probably end the stream. Quick! Oh, there's a reward. I'm actually a little surprised about this. I just figured this would be like a cute little like conclusion to Omega. Omega has selected a new destination. Our next destination will be Camp Broken Glass. I desire elaboration on the dealings between Ilsabard contingent and the citizens of Garlemald. The report described the contingent's purpose as the salvation of the local populace. Furthermore, both factions faced a common enemy in the Lofroi. Why did they not immediately combine forces to their mutual benefit? This inconsistency requires closer examination. Quarrel, initiate teleportation. Can't believe Omega's gonna go on a course. Find Kingdom Hearts with better understanding. Yeah, dude. He's gonna find his own Keyblade and become a Keyblade wielder. Actually, wait. No. I just realized something. If we're Sora because we found Kingdom Hearts, aka Ultimate Fuel, does that make Alpha and Omega our Donald and Goofy? Oh god, Omega is Goofy. No wonder he doesn't understand anything. It all makes sense. Teleportation successful. Evaluating immediate environs. A cold weathered region by Ethereal standards, but significantly less extreme than a star with ice-like classification. This body should not be unduly impeded. In contrast to Alpha and his uncontrollable shivering, my frame appears highly resistant to low temperatures. But does he have Goofy's instinct that lets him still guess everything correctly? He's working on. See, he's auditioning to become Goofy. See, this is a tryout period. We already know Alpha has the part, but Alpha's like, "Hey, yo, I ain't going on set without my homie Omega here, so let him audition." So we're letting Omega just audition for the part. This is the script reading. This is the live script reading. Retrieving data. Records indicate that remnants of the contingent force and a number of Imperial citizens yet inhabit this location. We must speak with representatives from both factions and explore their respective attitudes. Blip. Proceed. Coral? Come to see how things are progressing, have you? I can't speak for the overall strategy, but communication with locals has become a damn sight easier than just... sight easier since Julius and his soldiers stepped in to help. Oh, we still face our fair share of distrust, of course. Some folk even think we're enslaved in minds with our foreign magics. If anyone to thank you for putting that idea in their heads. But all things considered, I'd say we're doing pretty well. Establishing an open dialogue was the first big step. Query. You consider this level of progress acceptable? The reality of your effort falls short of the ideal. If your aim is to provide efficient succor to the local populace, then absorbing the numbers into your command structure would be the optimal path. Oh, I wouldn't go that far. We're not looking to take over their nation. If we're doing this the right way, we need to recognize and respect each other's way of life. So while it may not be the easiest solution, I agree with the contingent's slow and steady approach. I'm just happy we're saving lives. A shadow from the past. Yes, I know you from Victor Spoils. Have you come to laugh at me? A wretch who chose to lose Lucinia and her sister rather than accept your help? A fool who ended up relying upon your charity nonetheless? Well, perhaps I deserve your derision. My compatriots surely scorn my failed conviction. Wait, does that make Arbor Ventus for being the first to fuse in our heart? Yeah, so Arbor is Ventus. We're Sora. Then who's our nobody? The people who attacked Alpha who's alone in the street. Oh. Oh, okay. Actually, thank you for reminding me who that was, Rancid, because I did not really put that two and two together. But I do remember the part you're talking about, yes. Frey. Oh god, Frey is our nobody. It's all coming together. Final Fantasy XIV is just Kingdom Hearts. I have shamed my people and brought dishonor upon my nation. I am no better than a kept beast. My pride sold for a bowl of feed. But my soul, nay, that you shall not have. I refuse your honeyed offers of a new home. This land is where I belong. This is where I shall remain. Flip, you demonstrate opposition to the contingent's overtures. On what basis do you refuse the cooperation? The data suggests the local populace is struggling to produce bare minimum of sustenance. Have you some secret strategy for survival? Or do your orders compel you to accept your present misfortune? What? Must I be mocked by a magic toy now? No, I have no secret strategy, no binding orders. I comport myself as any true guardian would. Uncompromising. Unbending. Blast it all. Once again, this input is unanticipated. Let us move aside and process what we have heard. It was not for me here. I know this. But if I surrender my homeland, what was it all for? God, Coral's gonna be like so fucking cold. Just being out here dressed like this. Accessing and analyzing recorded data. Integration complete. I have evaluated this most recent input and made comparisons to our discoveries in Raz and Han. Consistent only in their inconsistency, the responses from both contingent member and Imperial citizen were highly irrational. Conversely, any Omicron considering their predicaments would have echoed my assessment exactly. The divergence from self-evident logic is key. Hypothesis. The illogical relationship between would-be survivors and suffering populace is another result of the unpredictable nature of mortal hearts. Flip. Any property or ability has inherited advantages and disadvantages. Yet never have I encountered a unique detriment. It appears that those who share your metaphysical capabilities are prone to complicating simple cognitive processes. I can read. I can speak. I have no error. An undesirable quality. I will, however, persist in furthering my understanding of the subject. Query. Prior to formulating our next step, I wish to know, who is this Lucinia the Imperial mentioned? even Alpha said. Acknowledged. To summarize, insufficient data on foreign culture resulted in inadvisable and ultimately fatal action. I witnessed such self-destructive behavior during the course of our planetary conquests. Overwhelmed enemies' forces would voluntarily withdraw into perilous regions, leading to a succession of inevitable losses. Tangential. I do not know how to pronounce that word. You know what? We're looking it up. That's what we do on Final Fantasy XIV.
Tangential.
Tangential. Okay. Relating to or along a tangent. Hardly touching a matter. Peripheral. Okay, diverging. So basically, it's like you're going off. It's basically the way of saying unrelated, but I'm curious. I wish to learn about burial customs. That practice has seemed nonsensical, but new data suggests that it arises from the same source as your cognitive complications. Taking to this Licinia's burial site, it may aid me in stand. Loop loop. Oh. Energy delivery is compromised. Core temperature critically low. Bleep. Warning. Immediate heating required. Request. Apply friction to outer frame. I want to see what Alpha says. Quick! Aw, poor baby, I got you. Don't worry. Your toy will be okay. We just gotta change the batteries. It's all okay. Bloop, blip. Temperature nominal. Energy level stabilizing. The creators of this model must have experienced impaired cognitive reasoning during the design process. Upon our return, I will request additional climate shielding, as well as an accurate temperature sensor array. This does not affect my combat capabilities, but should improve my basic survival rate. Reconfirming sub-destination. In which direction will you find Victor Spoils? Blip. Acknowledged. Alpha, you are to remain in close proximity. Close enough to envelop me in your feathers. You are permitted me to carry me on your back, if you so choose. Aw, he can get... I mean, as much as I love the idea of Alpha, like, giving a piggyback ride to Omega, and I think that's, like, really cute. I would love to give Alpha a piggyback ride, I'm just saying. Wait, what am I doing? We're riding Omega this quest line. I should do more fates. I actually need. You have to carry Alpha and be teleported. That's not fair, and I'm going to be disappointed. I mean, I haven't seen anything of that in specific. It would be extremely cute, though, if that was the case. Quick! But this does explain the piece of fan art I have seen, though, of Alpha and Omega. Or, like, they're just, like, both, like, in hoodies, but, like, Alpha, or, like, Omega just looks, like, stupidly cute wrapped up in a bunch of, like, coats. Blip. A deceptively deep snowdrift almost defeated me. But we have successfully arrived at the location you indicated. Blip. Caution advised. An unknown individual appears to be investigating the object of my interest. You're Yozia's champion, aren't you? Corla Dad. Yeah, that me. Oh, I never introduced myself, did I? I am Manius, soldier of the First Legion and comrade of Julius. Perhaps you remember me from Turritum? We spoke about collecting ceruleum, and again later on about Lord Quintus had passed. Ah, I kind of remember him now, actually, with that flashback. Manius, explanation requested. What is the reason for your presence here? That must be the tiniest Magitech weapon. No, it's just an oddly shaped communicator, isn't it? In any case, I have nothing worthy to report. I heard that the sisters who used to live in my sector were buried here, so that I come and pay my respects. Alphino and Alizé told me the story, complete with profuse apologies. They were adamant that no amount of remorse could erase the tragedy of what came to pass. Not that my fellow soldiers and I are in any place to judge, we were manipulated, fooled into starting an insurrection which led to countless deaths among our own countrymen. Objection. The casualties incurred through your fighting were distinct from those caused by the ills of our contingent. To restate, you are justified in seeking restitution from the contingent for causing the deaths of Lycia and her sister. Retaliation for damage sustained is also a logical progression. I can deduce two reasons why you do not initiate hostiles with Quarrel and her allies. 1. You judge your remaining forces too weakened to contend efficiently with the contingent. 2. Your emotions are complicating the issue. Well, he's kind of getting it with the emotions part. Kind of. Tell me, which of these is correct? Well, when you lay it out like that, I'm afraid my answer isn't like to win any medals, so would you mind keeping this to yourselves? There's an unspoken thought when we're outmatched on the battlefield, certainly. But the real reason I'm debating our situation has little to do with weighing the odds. The simple truth is I'm so caught up with simple survival that I've no strength to spare for past grievances. The same goes for avenging any comrades we've lost, either my brothers in arms or Lord Quintus himself. Although it seems everyone has an opinion about the manner of his passing, some say he should have fought until the end, that he abandoned us to the enemy. Others praise him for taking the full burden of responsibility and freeing us to walk our own path. I don't know who's right and who's wrong, but I'm inclined to side with the latter. He gave us the choice of freedom, and that's the choice I made. I could cry and rant and rage, but what would be the point? I'll save my energy for worrying about my next meal, my next task. I need to focus on the ones left behind, on making some kind of life for my comrades and me. If I need to lean on the contingent to do that, then that's what I'll do. Even if their aid comes at a price, I'm willing to pay it. Even amongst your own, there are times when cooperation demands compromise. What matter that they are outsiders? Besides, I think I can grow to like Alphino and Alizé. They've reached out to us with kindness and compassion from the very beginning. True. 100% true. I love those guys. Alizé, bestie, hello? Summation. You desire to survive even though it means allying with the contingent. Was a feeling you already harbored. That your side had already committed worse atrocities was the logic you invented later to justify your reasoning. Blunt but accurate, I suppose. The heart is honest about what it wants, even if the mind takes a while to reconcile a decision. Well, this has been oddly cathartic, but I must return to my duties. There are wild beasts to cull, watchfires to light, supplies to transport. Even without an emperor, there's no rest for an imperial. Be well and stay safe. Upon review of recent input, I have arrived at an unexpected conclusion. I have been formulating my assessments on the premise that it was Matt who commanded the strength of his heart. But the data suggests the opposite is true. The surge of spirit, of feelings, of emotion can tangle your thoughts to such a degree that even control over your own behavior is compromised. It seems the most counterproductive specification. This also explains why my interactions with mortal subjects has produced more confusion than clarification. It presents a formidable barrier to understanding. Aww. Look at Alpha being a good boy. Quick. But my earlier hypothesis has been borne out. The suboptimal operation being conducted here is the result of emotionally compromised reasoning. I am ready to progress to my third and final query. I would like to learn more about those who are referred to as ancients. It is clear that this group was a crucial factor of the final days, but the information contained in the report was insufficient to form an overview. The Loporrits are creations of the ancients and are said to maintain repositories of their knowledge. By my calculations, the base of these moon dwellers will provide the best source of additional data. Teleport us to their burrow, Coral. Preferably before my battery freezes over. So we're going to the moon, okay. Quick! Flip. Your teleportation spell was successful. We appear to have arrived at the location described as Bastway's Burrow. An inspection of their technology here would give me a detailed insight as to the ancients and their civilization. This body, however, lacks my previous frame's advanced observational functionality. I will require external assistance. No, it can't be. It is you! Oh, Coral, I've missed you so. What's this you brought with you? This soft, feathery vision. We've been up fluffed. Back at the moon, it's all over. That's a reaction for later. Why bother with burrow building bunnies when you can walk around this adorable avian engineer? Just bake me into a pie and be done with it. Oh no. Trust me, as much as I would love to have Alpha, like actual Alpha with me all the time. Inspect our inventions? Wait, so you're not done with us? Ha! I wasn't truly worried, of course. And I certainly wasn't about to roll myself in dough and dive into Cooking Way's new oven. Ahem. If a technical breakdown is what you need, then I am your leopard. As a resident atmospheric regulation expert, I can field any question or query you might care to pose. Yep, acceptable. I will employ this being to guide me around the facilities. Your presence is not mandatory, even locked with my current chassis. I am still an autonomous construct that has endured hundreds of your life cycles. I am capable of completing the simple objective alone. I get to spend time with the good boy. Wait, no! Come back! I feel cheated. I feel cheated. Objective complete. Good boy says here. Good boy literally just told me to get out. After my 50th question, his responses began to suffer noticeable delays. By that stage, we had viewed a representative cross-section of Labra Engineering, thus I deemed it unnecessary to retain his company. Conclusion. Extrapolating from the fraction of technology on display, the full spectrum of the ancients' advancements was, at minimum, equivalent to a level 4 civilization. A fact which remains further investigation. Despite establishing a nearly identical society, these beings nevertheless harbored a weakness which invited self-destruction. In studying them, I stand to gain a greater understanding of Sir's anomalous decision. Growing Ware Alpha, important question. As in, like, which one do I like more? 100% Alpha, if that's what you're asking. Alpha has nearly made me cry in this game. I love Alpha, dude. Growing Way informed me that the other type of ancient made entity exists upon the satellite. The one they call the Watcher. If you had to pick one to follow you around. Okay, see, to be fair, I feel... So, okay, I'm gonna answer that as if we don't have the wind-up alpha minion. I'm gonna answer it, like, in that case. Like, as if we didn't have the wind-up alpha minion. I would pick alpha. Because, I think alpha is cuter than the Loprits. And again, alpha... The Omega... I think Omega story in general just had me love this character. Story-wise, I think it's definitely my favorite Alliance raid. Definitely some of my favorite side content in the game. I absolutely love, like, the Omega story. And Alpha being such an integral and cute part of it. I love her. I love Alpha, dude. I would commission Coral holding Alpha. Oh god, maybe I do commission that. Growing Way informed me that the other type of... Oh, the Watcher, we already read that. I would speak to him. Blip. Then conserve your ether. I'll ride this Argos to our destination, as you have suggested. Okay, so on the real, I actually just want to see, like, art of like Argos flying with Omega in Argos's mouth and Alpha is just on Argos's back. Like just treating it like it's a fucking roller coaster ride. Quick, quick! Quick, quick, quick! Bloop. Impedance detected. The creature identified as Argos refuses to acknowledge our presence. Hypothesis. Upon our arrival, Growingway expressed concern that he had been outfluffed. This is just the existence of a fluff-based hierarchy. My station in such a system would be predictably low, but Argos is adamant in ignoring even Alpha. Its fluffiness level is impossible to gauge. Argos turns to you with an impassive gaze, decision to intervene. You know what? We know Argos has an ego. Nothing of them was lug it. You know what? Nah, we'll say we'll buff up the ego. Fucking egocentric ass dog. Argos gives an exacerbated snort before motioning to his back. This is your permission to climb aboard. Bloop. You have secured the creature's permission. Curious. You must have special standing in the fluffiness hierarchy. Bleep. I have allowed myself to become distracted. Let us continue on to the Watcher at once. Gosh darn it. The Watcher located. An estimate of this being's height explains the inconvenient scale of Bestaway Burrows. I was bemused by the arrival of these small visitors, but I see they are companions of yours. Also, so does Omega have special dialogue before that? I'm assuming if you're like Makode or Hrothgar or something. As a Makode, he said something along the lines of, there must be a strong fluffy power within your tail. I see. Yeah, I'm apparently just an exception to the I have a special standing to the fluffiness hierarchy. I was amused. Oh. What a rare thing for my abode to be thus crowded. How may I be of service to you? Hello, Watcher. My purpose here is to learn more about the ancients. I would know their deeds, their philosophies, the very nature of their hearts. I would understand why the final days was visited upon my home star. A worthy endeavor, but there is another better suited to assisting you with that task. For Hrothgar, he talks about how there must be no one that can compete with their third. Okay. Perhaps you might fare us with a tale or two of the ancients you met during your travels, Quarrel? My fragmented memories would be a pale substitute indeed for the clarity of your more recent experiences. Especially someone's foot there. Well, I know Gaia literally just wanted to smash someone's fucking, like, heel. Versus rip. Yeah, I ended up not being able to really do my tournament matches, so I'm kind of a little sad on that, but I got other stuff done this weekend I really needed to. Plus, not the 2 million mounts going anywhere anyways. Yes, I can envision every detail. You're meeting with Vanan, Emmet Selk, and Hythlodaeus, the sorrow and determination of Hermes. I am a creation of Heidelin, and as such, I believe the age of the ancients would fade and be forgotten. Yet knowing that their memory lives so vividly within you, it brings me great joy. I pray you keep them close to your heart. At the time of your journey to the past, the one whose essence I embody would have been a scholar in Anadir, a shame. Had you reason to go there, perhaps you might have met. As a man of learning, he was firm friends with Vana. They spent long hours trading theories or debating the laws of the universe. I remember joining her faction as the final days bore down upon us. Yet of the events surrounding that tragedy, I recall precious little. Heidelin wished for the people of your age to decide their own path. Thus, I suspect my recollection was limited by design. Yet even she cannot cut away one persistent memory. I feel most distinct sadness at what was to come to pass. I'm becoming Heidelin's heart, for now would forever stand apart from the people she so loved. If she were so resolved by her convictions that he too would share her sleepless vigil over the future yet to unfold. Thus was the vow he made to Vana as her transformation took hold. Oh. Aww. His fervent wish must have reached her in some fashion, for though his life was strained away by the summoning, he was reborn with new form and new purpose when I awoke as the Watcher of the Moon. And you heard, Coral. You felt. You thought. And in seizing the future for yourselves, have you brought it full circle of the saga which Vana began. What you accomplished was no divine miracle. It was but the beacon of hope, passed on from one generation to the next. A succession of wishes and prayers reshaping the star into the world we knew you deserved. You have our deepest gratitude. I thank you not only as myself, but as the man I once was, and on behalf of those who devoted themselves to Vana's vision. Man, I wish I was dressed a little bit more appropriately. Bloop, bloop. I understand the facts of your story, Coral, but not how you have chosen to process them. On what grounds do you speak of Vana with such fondness? By sundering the world, she ultimately guided your kind to victory, yet doing so caused the irreparable damage to its individual members. The full scale of that fact is beyond calculation. It is evident, however, that it resulted in a protracted period of suboptimal existence for Emmet Selk and his brethren. Query: if the survival of your kind is the deciding factor in your evaluation, then should you not also admire Hermes in his decision to subject man to trial, forcing you to change or perish, as was the fate of countless civilizations before you? From my perspective, his determination was similar to that of the Omnicrons' ancestors, those who first began trading flesh for machine so that our people might stand against the onslaught of aggression from other races. It was an unprecedented attempt, accompanied by much failure and sacrifice. Their early experiments were crude, primitive. Had they not made those first advances, however, we would have remained vulnerable to our environment. The violence would have utterly consumed us. And what of Emmett Selk himself, judging by your retelling? He was a benevolent ally saddled with tragic fate. Yet I remember the years when my instruments fed me data from events across the entire star. During that time, I witnessed his Asians engineer multiple instances of cataclysmic strife. These calamities, as you know them, were responsible for planet-wide destruction. A man whose endgame relied upon the extinction of all modern mortals must, by definition, be your worst enemy. And I mean, in a way, he was, technically speaking. I require an answer. As a being of heart and soul, how do you classify each of these pivotal figures? From your perspective, which of them was most justified in their actions? I mean, the answer is that everyone was justified in their own way. Like, every story made sense when you think about it. Vana cared about there's a lot of it. It's literally past, present, future. That's actually the best way to think about these three. It was all past, present, future. Vana wanted the next generation to be able to prosper and live on. Hermes was about the now, where he felt that does life as we know it deserve to continue to exist, and he wanted to test theory. And Emmett felt that the past that he lost was what deserved to be the present and the future going forward. So the answer was that they were all justified. At least that's how I see it. I think I understand. You seek a definitive answer, yet based upon our experiences, Coral and I might develop very different opinions. In the same fashion, you are free to form your own thoughts on the matter. Do not be so swift to consider them without merit. I do not have my own thoughts on the matter. I assess each situation with the same logic pathways available to every Omnicron. Even if 1,000 Omnicrons were asked to analyze the same event, they would all return to the same result, regardless of individual experience. There is no strength to be found in fractured reasoning. Nonetheless, I find your input valuable. Recording data alongside interview results. This concludes my investigation into the incomplete elements of the final day's report. I will reanalyze the accumulated information and examine the factors which led to Sir's incomprehensible decision. Blip. Let us return to Thambazane. It was pleasant to hear your tales of Elpis. Should you ever need an audience familiar with the subject, I'd be glad to listen to more of your recollections. Even with one's gaze fixed upon the future, we oftentimes find our thoughts drifting to the past. It is a shame that Heidelin never chose to speak of it. Man, this is putting theories in my head about who the Watcher is. Because I kind of just want to know. And obviously we gotta name it, I mean, like, who isn't, like, a character, like, what they were, like, about, like... I mean, like personality, like, who was he like, what was his real connection with Vana? Like, I want to know that stuff. Like, why was he made the Watcher? Like, why was... I mean, obviously I can, like, make two different theories about like why he was denied his memories of like life before, but blip. Ah, there you are. Right at the last moment. The dream with Omega was properly educational, I hope? We'd plan to ask you all about it in the remaining transmission besides, but I'm afraid something urgent has come up. Seems one of our Ironworks associates has fouled up a job elsewhere, and Jesse needs Wedge and me to rush and lend a hand. There's an airship already waiting for us at the harbor, in fact. Do you think you could escort us over there and talk as we walk? Blip. Acceptable. I am fully capable of speech during ambulation. I figured you might be. Right, let's get a move on then. So, you've cleared up all those points of confusion then? I had mistakenly classified your intangible heart as an ability of some kind. An uncanny power that Omnicrons could neither learn nor even measure. Even now, its full nature yet eludes my comprehension. Based upon our investigations, however, I have decided to alter my definition. A phenomenon which influences one's interpretation of reality. That is as close to an answer as I have found. Accordingly, Sir's actions upon meeting Meteion strongly indicate the presence of a heart. Sir did not follow routine logic, but formulated an independent assessment based upon the reality it perceived. It felt that the best course for the Omnicrons was to cease their expansion and terminate all functions. Well, here's our ship. Aye, we need going, but first, I'll hold you to your bargain, Omega. This time you told us what was in that transmission from the flight logs. Blip, acknowledged. I will uphold the terms of our agreement. The recording salvaged from the Ragnarok was a simple one. The message is so basic, in fact, that time spent listening to it may result in a net loss of value. Shall I continue? Now you're just teasing us. Tell us the message already. Acknowledged. Converting dialect coding to local language. To whoever receives this message out there, in the vast reaches of the cosmos, To someone, I hope, who looks up at the stars with the same wistful gaze as mine. To you I say, forge ahead. May all our tomorrows be blessed with joy. Forge ahead. This message had no designated recipient. It lacks purpose. The concept of joy is overly abstract. The vocal supplication to manifest said joy is unrealistic in its optimism. Yet based upon their expressions, my assessment of the transmission, its value conflicts with its apparent impact. And still, I fail to understand you, sir. Your heart still confuses me. Was termination of everything the correct course? How did you arrive at this conclusion? It defies all my attempts at reasoning. But I was designed to evolve. If I continue to learn, the probability I will eventually comprehend this phenomenon is greater than 0. So I will put the dilemma of your decision aside from now. And continue my existence upon this distant star. As I dwell among these many life forms, so will I continue to piece together the complete shape of their mortal hearts. Oh, I missed that. Hold on. I must document their progress. Your contribution to my education is appreciated, Coral. Indeed, I have amassed a satisfying quantity of valuable data. Now that our negotiated business is complete, however, Alpha and I will be returning to traveling the world. Drawing on recent experience, I am confident we can expand the radius of our ventures by a significant margin. We need not limit ourselves to Eorzea. I am now familiar with Charlian and Matzat-Han, and would like to revisit the freezing climates of Garlemulu. I knew that they need to construct Briggs and Wedge to upgrade my climate shielding. Blip, I will reroute my request to Deputy President Jesse. Engaging ebullition and parting salutations. Farewell, Coral. Alpha gives a vigorous shake and draws forth a scrap of paper from under his wing. It seems he wants you to have it. Perhaps this is his way of thanking you? Flow together, orchestrion. Lip swiftly, Alpha. The road is long and we have barely begun our journey. Flow together. You know what? I'm gonna see what this one is before we end off. Just so that way, if you haven't done this quest yet and you want to know what the reward is, you can go do it yourself. But I don't... Flow together. I know like what the song Flow is, but is it... This isn't like just the vocal theme, is it? Oh, it's this one! This is the versus Vana theme! You know what? We'll end stream here. I'll do the outro, but I'm gonna let you guys keep listening to the music. I didn't realize this is the reward. Okay, so they actually did put this in the game. Good to know. This is such a good song. I love this version of it. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching tonight's stream. Hope you all enjoyed it. I liked how I said I was going to stream a short stream, and yet I went for a little over 2 hours. If you really truly want to financially support me in the stream, please consider subbing, gifting a sub, donating, Amazon Prime. You have all those things available to you, but please don't spend what you don't have. Focus on your own lives first. Want to hop in the Discord? Just click the little button down below. If I plug the Discord command, which is !Discord, you know, we would be stopping the audio, but we don't want that. But yeah, I think that's it for me. I apologize for no stream yesterday, but thank you all very much for watching. Also, if you're in the Discord, remember, vote in the polls channel, because I went opinions on our last 2 emotes. Thank you, Ranston. The bot should have... Yeah, there's the bot command. Okay. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for me for tonight, because I have to get up in roughly 7-ish hours. So thank you all very much, and I will catch you guys hopefully on Friday for something. So, hopefully we actually start our next playthrough game, finally. Yeah, I will catch you guys later, and you have a great rest of your night. Bye, friends. Also, I'm sorry, I'm putting the song here.